Hello the internet, my name is Dean and welcome back to another Ruby on Rails tutorial. Today we're going to be covering setting up a comment system for your Rails application, which will let you create comments in a post. For this specific video, we're only going to be covering creating comments. We'll cover editing and destroying them in a future video. And we'll also cover polymorphic comments in a future video where we can create comments for multiple models and only have one centralized comment model to run off of, so that it's a lot easier to implement it onto into other areas of our applications. But for now, let's go ahead and let's get started. So once you are in your text editor of choice and you have the project open, we can come into our gem file and we'll add two gems. The first one will be Devise and the second will be jQuery-Rails. We can then come to our terminal and run a bundle command to install those. And then we can come into app assets javascript application.js. And we can switch this to require jQuery 3 as well as require jQuery_UJS. And so once you have that done, you can run a Rails G devise :install command. And assuming that runs successfully, you can then run a Rails G devise user command to generate the user model that you'll be working with. Now, unfortunately, this is always a bit of a hit or miss for me because for some reason my Rails installation is a little bit wonky, but if I run it a second time, we should be okay. So let's grab these alerts and the notices, and we'll add these into our views layouts, and we'll create a new file here. We'll save this as _alerts.html.erb, and we'll save that. Then we can come into our application, and the reason why we save them into the alerts partial is so that instead of pasting everything in here, we can just call one render to layouts/alerts, and we only have one line of code to deal with there. Next, we can run a Rails G devise user command to generate our user model. Then we can run a Rails G scaffold post command to generate our scaffold. And for this, we'll give it a title of type string by default and a body of type text. And we're not setting up any association between the posts and the comments in here or the post and the user, because we're not really covering the post and the user for this tutorial. But now we can run a Rails G model comment command to generate our comment. And for this, we'll give it a body of type text, a user : references, because we want it to have a reference to the user, as well as a post : references. And finally, we can run a Rails G controller command to generate a comments, plural, controller, and we'll give it a create action. And finally, we can run a Rails DB : migrate command to add all of this good stuff into our database. So once all of that's done, we can come into our config and our routes.rb, and we'll start by setting the root path. For this, we'll just say root, and we want this to be the post index action. We can grab this get right here and put it inside of a nested do for our posts, and we'll get rid of the create right there, and we'll change this get to a post. So we want post comments, comma 2, and we want this to be the comments controller and the create action. So once that's set up, we can close the routes and close the application and all this other nonsense and come into our post index page. And for this, right above the header, above everything else, and you can actually get rid of this notice because we have that partial set up. Above all of that, we want to do a if current_user call to check if the user is currently signed in. And the way this works is if the user is signed in, then this will return true. So for this one, the user will be signed in. So we'll say link to, and if the user signed in, then we want to sign out. And we'll say destroy _user_session_path. And this needs a method : of delete because this is the sign out link. Now we can do something similar if the user is not signed in. And for this, we'll say link _to create account. And then we'll say new _user_registration_path. And finally, we can do one for a link _to sign in. So if you already have an account, you want to go to the new _user_session_path and save that. Finally, let's run a Rails S command to start the server. And we'll pop over to the root of our application, which should hopefully have these links working as intended. So let's create an account. Oh, and we actually have this black hover right here. And the reason for that is we forgot to go into assets, style sheets, and delete the scaffolds.scss. So if we delete that and refresh, we won't have that black on hover anymore. For this, we're going to sign up. We're going to hit Dean@example.com as the email and password of password. This is kind of standard stuff with just some dummy information. Now let's create one post, and for this we'll say hello world with words here, and we can create that post. Now this is showing the alert twice, so we have to come into posts in the show page and get rid of this top alert. And save that and refresh. Now what we want to do in our post show page is down here we want to have a form underscore with, and because this is a form I am adding the equal sign right here. So we want a form with model, and this is a new Rails 5 type of form, so if you're not familiar with the form with yet, maybe go check that out. It kind of just defaults to remote, so instead of having form for where you have to say remote true, with a form with form you have to say local true if you want it to refresh the page for something like this. So we want to say form with model, and then in square brackets we'll say at post, and then we'll say at comment, and then do f end, and then in here we want to do an f dot text underscore field for the body, and we want to do an f dot submit that says something like comment, and then below that we'll do an at comments dot each do comment, and we'll end this right here. And ideally what we would do here is say like maybe comment dot created underscore at dot strf time, and then we can come over to strftime.net and we can format this. So we'll grab the 12-hour, we'll add in a colon, and we'll say minutes, and then we can add in a space, and then AM and PM. So if we grab that, put it in the quotes, and then close this Ruby code, we will then have our created at set up, and we can probably do some square brackets here, and then we'll say comment.user.email, and we can add a colon, and then we'll say comment.body, and then after all that we'll just do a BR. So now when we refresh this page, we're going to run into a world of errors. The first one is undefined method model name. For this, we need to come into our controllers and our post controller. And then for the show page, we want to say at comment equals comment.new. And then we want to say at comments equals, we could do comment.all, but this would grab quite literally every comment in the application. And we only want the at post.comments for this at comments call. So now if we refresh the page, we'll see that we don't have a method comments for the post model. The reason for that is we have to come into our models folder and our post.rb, and we have to make sure that this association is set up. So because we wanted each post to have many comments, we have to say the post has many comments. And there is an optional flag here that I'm going to cover in a little bit, so we're just going to leave it like this for now. And then we can come into the user model and we can say a user also has many comments. And while we're in here, let's actually just do a def username, and for this we'll just return the email, and we'll split it at the at symbol, and we'll grab the first element of that array and we'll capitalize it. And we'll just end this. And the reason for this is we want to, if we come into the show page, instead of grabbing the email, we'll just display that fake username we just created. So now if we refresh the page looks fine. Let's go ahead and let's create a comment. So this won't work. And the reason for this is, you see up here, everything looks okay, but if we come into our actual comments controller, we totally forgot to actually create the comment. So for this, we want to create a private field right here, and we'll have to do a couple things inside of here. So let's start by defining the comment underscore params. And for this, we'll say params.require. We want to require the comment. And then we want to permit the body of the comment and the post underscore ID. And we're not passing in the user, so we'll have to handle that some other way. And the second thing we want to do is set the post. And for this, we can just say at post equals post.find. And we want to find this by the params and the post underscore ID. So up top, we'll create a before action, before underscore action, colon set underscore post. And we want another before action here that says authenticate user exclamation, because if someone does manage to make it to this page or to this action, we want to force them to authenticate. We'll try to hide this form if the user isn't signed in, but if they do somehow make it here, then still force them to sign in. So So now we can come into our create action. We'll say at comment equals at post.comments.new, and we'll pass it the comment underscore params. And then we'll say at comment.user equals the current underscore user, and then at comment.save. We can refresh this page and just put in some text here. Let's do something like my first comment. And we'll hit comment. You can see up here that it inserted the comments with the body and everything else, but nothing appeared here. And that's because we have to actually refresh. So let's maybe make it refresh by default. So we'll say comma local colon true. So now when we do this and we pop in a comment, it's going to send us to the comments page. Well, why is it doing that? Well, the reason is after the comments controller runs, it's redirecting us to the view for the comments, which you would expect from like what we've seen with basic CRUD applications. There's a mosquito in my room that just tried to attack me. So what we want to do here is ideally redirect back to the post that we were just at. So for this, Rails 5 provides us with this neat little redirect back, which we can use. So for this, we'll say redirect underscore back, fallback underscore location, colon, root path. So if something does go wrong, go back to the root of the application. So now let's come back to our posts and let's comment again. And it looks like that one worked. Let's try one more. And there you go. Now these are kind of showing up in the wrong order. So instead, let's come into our post controller, and for our at comments, we'll say at post.comments.order and quotes created underscore at and DESC. Ow. So now we have the comments displaying in the right order. Let's see what else we can do here. Maybe instead of refreshing the page, we want to do this remotely and have the page update itself. But first, let's go back and let's try to destroy this post. So if we try to destroy this, we'll run into an issue where it says SQLite, constraint exception, foreign key, constraint failed, and I don't know what any of these words mean. The basic premise here is you're trying to destroy the posts, but you aren't destroying the stuff that the posts have, so the comments are causing some issues. So let's fix this. Let's come into our post.rb, and after the has many comments, we'll add in this mosquito will be the death of me. So we want to come in here and we want to say has many comments, comma, dependent colon destroy. So we want something like that, and we can actually copy this and paste it over to the user model so that if a user account gets destroyed, a similar thing happens. Once that's done, let me just check on the comment model. We're not, okay, so in here we'll say validates body. We want to validate the presence to be true and allow underscore blank to be false. So now we're able to destroy this post. If I come in here and I hit destroy, that works as expected. You can see up here that all the comments were destroyed. And we're also making sure that if we create one more right here, let's say, just give it some text. If we try to create a blank comment, we shouldn't be able to create that comment. So here you can see that's not working, but if we do this, then it is working. So we have our validations in place. We're doing some pretty good work here, but we can probably do a bit better. Let's maybe get rid of this local true and save this. And then let's come into our comments controller and get rid of this redirect back. So now if we create a comment here and we hit comment, it's not updating the page, but if we refresh, then there it is. So the way to fix this is if we come into our views and our comments and our create action, what we want to do here is rename this create.html to be a create.js.erb. And we can clear this out. And now we'll use our jQuery. So what we want to do here is grab something by an ID so that we can do a prepend to this list and put the new comment at the top. So if we come into our show page, we have the thing right here that's iterating over all the comments. So let's do a div maybe. We'll give this an ID equal to comment underscore pane, and we'll make sure to wrap all of that. And we can now grab this and do our magic in the create action. So we'll say comment underscore pane dot prepend, and inside of these quotes, we want to do is say jrender at comment. And this jrender at comment is going to try to render a partial from inside of our comments folder called underscore comment. So for this, we need to create a new file. We'll save this as _comment.html.erb. And now we want to put in some code in here that basically runs this, or that renders the comment that we have right here. And for this, we can actually just quite literally grab this, cut it out, paste it in here, save this, come back to our show page, and then just say render comments/comment, and pass in the comment that we are looking at right here. So this comment is this comment. If we refresh the page, this still works. We can come into our create action, and this looks good. Let's test this out. Test this out, please. We can hit create comment, and the comment is created, but maybe we want to empty out this form right here. And the way to do that, if we hit F12 and we click on this little mouse on a window screen, or just hit Control-Shift-C, you can then hover over this input and see that it has an ID of comment_body. So let's maybe grab that comment_body and set the value of it to just be the empty string. So now we create the comment, we say the word test, we hit enter, and the form gets cleared. So, hi. This works surprisingly well. So that seems to be working. What else could we possibly do here? Let's go back to the index page maybe, and let's add a counter to show how many comments the post has. So if we come into our index page, maybe after the destroy, we'll just say a TD, and we'll just close this off. And in here we'll say maybe something like pluralize post.comments.count, comma, and then the word comment. And we can save that. We can refresh. So now it says 8 comments there. That's good. Let's make another one. We'll call this hello world, give it some text, and we'll leave this with no comments. So here you can see that it says 0 comments. And then let's do one more. This one has only 1 comment, so the word comment should be singular. And then we'll just throw in one specific comment. I might be having a little bit too much fun with this. Now if we go back and we full screen this, you can see that this one right here that has only 1 comment, so the comment should be singular, is actually singular because of our pluralize call right there. And I think this about does it. We can destroy the comments. We can edit the actual post. I guess in a future video, we'll cover all of the other stuff like editing and destroying comments and do the polymorphic stuff so that we, let's say if we had another scaffold here like Rails G scaffold articles, and we wanted to give the articles comments as well, and then we wanted the user to be able, or we wanted the user dashboard to have all of the comments that the users created in maybe chronological order, then you could use the polymorphic comments to satisfy that need. Just as a quick note, I realized I forgot to cover this. If you come into the show page and go to the form right here, you can just do a quick if current_user check to make sure that you are checking if the user is currently signed in before you render the form. And if the user is not signed in, then you could do something like a p tag right here and just say maybe like you need to sign, or you need to link_to login new_user_session_path before you can comment. So now if you refresh the page and you sign out, and then you refresh the page in here, it'll say you need to log in before you can comment. It takes you to the login path, you log in, and then you can comment as usual right here. But for now, that pretty much does it. Thank you for watching. Remember, if this video helped you, then please like it. If this video didn't help you, then dislike it so that other people know not to watch these, because it does help other people like you that are looking for decent resources and come across people that don't really know what they're talking about. If you really like this video, then consider subscribing. There will be follow-ups, of course, and there's also several other videos on my channel dedicated to Rails content, like active storage, and I'm doing an action cable series right now, which should be fun. And I have several other tutorials planned for the future. But for now, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.